It sounds peaceful, healing tones, gentle vibrations, frequencies said to realign your body and mind. But beneath the surface, could there be a spiritual risk? Could frequency healing be opening doors Christians were never meant to open? In this video, we're diving deep, separating truth from deception, science from spirituality, and asking the question every believer should know: is frequency healing safe or spiritually dangerous? So can believers use sound frequencies for healing? And what does the Bible actually say on the topic? I'm Margaret Wacyk. I'm a classical pianist and author. Let's explore the science, the scripture, and the spiritual truth beneath healing frequencies. Let's start with what healing frequencies are. Healing frequencies refer to specific sound vibrations that are believed to restore balance to the body. Vibrations are measured in hertz. So you might have heard of numbers such as 432, said to bring relaxation, or 528, which has been called the love frequency and linked to DNA repair. And these are all combined to be called the solfeggio frequencies. Okay, I wanted to quickly jump on and show you what comes up on a random Google search, solfeggio frequencies. What you see is New Age dominance, New Age symbolism, New Age chakra colors, New Age graphics, and all sorts of icons. So this clearly does not look Christian. However, big however, frequency healing is powerful and it has been robbed. That's right, it's been robbed. The New Age has hijacked and taken God's biblical codes and used them and perverted them. And it's a jail cell that it's an impenetrable wall now that keeps Christians out of an extremely powerful healing modality. Now, science does confirm that sound affects the brain and body in miraculous ways that we are just learning, and it can bring about pain relief, reduce anxiety, and even help stroke patients recover speech.
Are you struggling with illness, anxiety, or depression, and it feels like you've hit a wall? What if the answer isn't in taking yet another pill, signing up for more expensive therapies, or inconclusive doctor appointments? What if you could take control of your health through the ancient biblical secret of tuning yourself just like you would an instrument? My name is Margaret Wacyk. I am a classical pianist and author, and for years I have been studying the connection between classical music healing and its roots in the Bible. And what I have found will amaze you. There are 7 sacred sounds embedded in the Old Testament that, when paired with the spoken word, release powerful healing. Because your body is an orchestra, and each organ in your body is an instrument. To stay in alignment, it must be tuned and harmonized. I have created Heaven's Melody to do just that. It is a music album that takes the 7 sacred tones. Each of them tunes a specific part of your body and emotions. The tones are paired with the spoken word, specific scriptures that promote healing, eliminate stress, break negative patterns, and encourage peaceful sleep in only minutes. Listen to what Sue from Washington had to say. She listened to Heaven's Melody for 3 nights, and then she went to her pre-op breast surgeon appointment. Miraculously, the doctor could not find the lump. She said, "Here we are 6 weeks later, and I am totally clear and clean of any cancer cells at any margin anywhere in my body." Now you might be thinking, how can sound shrink a tumor? It's because your ear acts like a recorder. Every word and sound you've heard gets recorded, and an impression of it is made inside your body in something called your colloidal system. It's an immense energy system of colloids. It is like a sensitive glue, a thin membrane that is easily disturbed by the smallest vibration from feeling or sound. And certain conditions, such as trauma, negativity, harsh words, or troubling experiences, may cause these colloids to condense. And when that happens, they pass from a liquid state to crystal form. This eventually manifests in the physical body as an illness or tumor. Now, the good news is that you could take control of your colloidal system by exercising your ear the same way you would exercise on a Stairmaster, except you don't walk up the steps with your feet. You use your ear. In Heaven's Melody, the 7 ancient scale steps are found in the Old Testament book of Numbers. Each step takes you higher, from the lowest frequency emotion, shame, to the highest, oneness with God. The first one breaks off the chains of guilt, fear, and shame, those low frequency emotions that keep most people stuck. Sherry from Ohio was able to undo 67 years of trauma by listening. Here's what she said. Heaven's Melody has been a complete reset for me. There is total, joyful, bubbling, peaceful quietude pulsating new life through my veins. I have never felt this sense of wholeness in 70 years. John from Florida wrote, I just had Heaven's Melody run through my last 4 hours of sleep. Wow. REM and deep sleep percentages as recorded on my Samsung watch are the largest ever. Heaven's Melody contains all 7 sacred tones, most of them running for 30 minutes for a total of 3.5 hours of listening that you can run while you sleep, drive, or in the background of your home. It also comes with a customized scripture booklet. You can download it instantly and listen on your preferred device or with the easy-to-use app included with the download. Don't wait. Take control of your health today. Heaven's Melody is the easy, instant, and beautiful way to retune yourself in the harmonious way that God made you to be, joyful, vital, and victorious. Learn more by visiting margaretwacyk.com/heavens-melody.
Let's talk about music and the Bible. And a good starting point is to examine how many times does Scripture actually refer to the act of hearing or to using your ears in the Bible. Well, it's a startling large amount. In fact, there are about 220 references to listening and human ears. And there are hundreds of other verses which speak about listening and hearing, or the giving ear, the ear that is receptive. The occasions are so common that they are found in every single book of the Bible except one. In Genesis 1:1, we see sound already presented in the story of creation. In verse 3, God said, "Let there be light." The moment that God spoke these words, not only was light entering the universe, but also sound, waves of energy. And sound is a very powerful tool in the Bible. King David played the harp to calm a tormented King Saul. Paul and Silas sang in prison and chains broke. Organized sound brought down the walls of Jericho. Now, worship and sound have always been a part of God's design. So if sound is good, when could it be bad? On the topic of music and sound, it is important right now to recognize that Satan himself was a musician. Now, what does that tell you? Music and sound are powerful. In fact, it is a battleground. Nothing can change your mood faster than music, and whoever has your ear has your attention and access to your mind. In Hollywood, a good soundtrack can make or break a film. It is a multi-million-dollar industry. Sound is used to design an emotional landscape. We are easily and subconsciously influenced by music. And because of that, it is a territory for good and evil. To win the war on your mind, you must become aware of the power of the ear gate, because what you listen to, you become. And more about that in a minute. But let's now take a moment to talk about the science of sound. When the Lord created the universe, sound was the material he used. Everything has vibration. Even Einstein said so. From a coffee cup to a star in the sky to a tiny shell along the shore. or even a tiny minuscule cell in your body. Everything has its own vibration. So you can influence the world around you through that. Let's dive a little bit further into exactly what vibration is. The scientific definition of vibration is a rapid back and forth motion of an object around a point of equilibrium. It could be mechanical, like a guitar string moving, or wave-based, like sound traveling through air. Vibration can be measured in frequency, how fast they move in hertz. Because God created all things in the universe, there is a relationship between God, you, me, and all of the things in creation. Since everything has a vibration, all things are therefore in relationship vibrationally. That is expressed in music by the art of harmony. But it's not just for music, it's in life, it's in the laws of music that we can adhere to the deeper laws that God shows us about relationships to ourselves, to Him, and to others, because all things are in relationship. The quantum world and science proves this. Every thought we have is an effect on the invisible world around us. In quantum physics, the observer effect suggests that the act of observing or measuring a quantum system can alter its behavior. And this principle has been explained in relation to consciousness and attention, suggesting that our focused attention can influence brain states and potentially our own reality. When two objects share the same frequency, an amazing thing called resonance occurs. Resonance is when an object naturally vibrates at the same frequency as an external force or sound wave and amplifies the vibration. You can think of it like this, like when two things match in frequencies, the vibration gets stronger. To make this a little bit more down to earth, I'm going to share an example which happened to me. This is how I met one of my best friends. It was through this magical thing called resonance. I was at a grocery store. I was online minding my own business. Somebody said something to me. I looked back. It was a lady, and she had a question. And the next thing, we started to chat. And the next thing, I realized, wow, she is really cool. Wow, she has a sense of humor. I really like her style. It's someone I'd like to get to know. And instantly, from stranger to someone that could potentially become my friend, became a reality. So that's the art of resonance, when you vibe with someone, to use just everyday language. Frequency and vibration is powerful, and in fact, it can be contagious. When that happens, it is a phenomenon called entrainment. Entrainment refers to how objects or systems can sync up with and match each other's frequencies and vibration. In scientific terms, entrainment is when one rhythmic pattern synchronizes with another. Like, for instance, how two pendulum clocks placed side by side will eventually swing in harmony with each other, or how our biological rhythms can align with external stimuli like music or sound. So when you hear quotes like, "You become the most like the 5 people you spend the most time with," that is largely because of this powerful yet subtle physical law of entrainment. We know that you can match a frequency and set it into vibration. Check out this tuning fork video to see how powerful this is. Let's go go deeper into the Bible and look into the book of Numbers. Now, there is something interesting that happens in the book of Numbers. If you have a King David version, you can see this for yourself. Turn to chapter 7. This discovery was made by Dr. Palaio back in the 70s, where he noticed that there was something very unusual in this chapter and deduced the 7 solfege sounds. Now, to put this simply, solfege just refers to a scale. Like if I play a scale on the piano, I start on C, I go up, and I end on C. And the word scale itself comes from the Italian word scala, which means a ladder. And that's exactly what a scale is. Now, a scale of ascents is a spiritual practice using sound where every single note of the scale has a particular effect on the emotions, on breaking up limiting beliefs, on bringing forth healing energy. And so when Dr. Palaio discovered this incredible numbers started to flash before his eyes, he realized he was on to something extremely powerful.
I'd like to just show you how the sacred pitches are derived. And so this information was hidden for centuries until it was given to Dr. Joseph Palaio in a revelation to look to Numbers chapter 7. And it has to do with offerings. And so what we do to find these embedded numbers, these embedded codes that lead us to the sacred frequencies, we have to look at something that happens here that's very interesting. Suddenly we start to see these stanzas, which are very symmetrical and very evenly spaced out. If we turn the page, we see more of this, and it's incredible. And this continues through verse 84 of chapter 7. In order for us to now see how the sacred frequencies are hidden within these verses inside chapter 7, we look to the first time we see this kind of symmetry happen is in verse 12. It happens verse 12. Then the next paragraph that's set off is verse 18. And then the next one is 6 more away, and it's verse 24. And then the next one is verse 30 and 36, and so on. So you get the picture of how we see these paragraphs forming very evenly. So what we do is we take the number of the first sentence, the first verse in each paragraph, and we see it's 12, the first one, the next one 18, the next one 24. By the numerical process of reduction, we take the double digit 12 and we reduce it to a single digit by adding the 1 and the 2 together to get 3. And then we do the same thing for 18. 1 plus 8 is 9. And then we do the same for 24. 2 plus 4 equals 6. 3, 9, 6. What's interesting is as we keep going, the same numbers appear. Here we have verse number 30. 3 plus 0 is 3. And then we have 36. 3 plus 6 is 9. 9. And then we'll get 42 in the next page. 4 plus 2 is 6. And so it continues onwards. So you could see how we can easily find the number 417. The next number in our sacred frequencies is 417. So we go to the second verse of our paragraph, which is verse 13. 3 plus 1 is 4. We go to the second verse of our next paragraph, which is 19. 1 plus 9 equals 10, which is reduced to 1. And then we get to the next one, 25. 2 plus 5 is 7. And so it continues, 417, 417. By this same process, you'll find 528 by going to the third sentence of each of these paragraphs, and so on and so forth until you get through all 6.
Now, the solfeggio scale, which has its roots in Gregorian chant and sacred music, is sometimes compared to spiritual ascension. each tone representing a different level of spiritual awareness or connection with the divine. For instance, we all heard of Do a deer, female deer, Re, a drop of golden sun from Sound of Music. But in the beginning, the early scale did not have Do, it had Ut. And in the Latin, that means so that with loosened voices, Ut cent laxus, this phrase translated into so that with loosened voices. Re means resonate fibris. The translation refers to may resound. Mi means mira gestorum. This translates to the wonders of the deeds. Fa comes from famili tuorum. This translates to of thy servants. Salve polluti labis reatum. This translates to clean the guilt from our stained lips. Sancte Johannes translates to O Saint John. The ancient solfege, as we can see in this old Gregorian chant, derived from these words in this hymn to Saint John.
Utque ant laxis resonare fibris, mira gestorum famuli tuorum, solve polluti labireatum sancte Ioannes.
If you've had music lessons, you've probably sang Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Ti, Do. And many of us, including myself for a long time, just thought that those were random syllables. But it turns out they have spiritual meaning. Now, when we tap into the ancient spiritual meaning and with our intention and with sounding out these tones, we release healing energy. It is very powerful. Let's examine that a little bit closer. For instance, the first note, Ut, is 396, which helps us to liberate guilt, liberating from fear. It helps the kidneys, bones, and blood. 417, the next one up, Re, breaks cycles. It helps our stomach and digestive system back. Now 528 hertz is known as the love frequency, and that has even been shown to heal broken DNA. It sounds crazy, but these are powerful sounds. And if you think about that, every single thing, including medicine, has a frequency, then that is the substance of everything. So just like you could get iron from taking a pill or from eating more broccoli or iron-rich foods, why not also think of frequencies as a way, as a delivery mechanism for healing benefits? Deep listening is a powerful and ancient way to connect to God. The phrase, who has an ear to listen, let them listen, or who has an ear to hear, let them hear, appears 6 times in the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, and 7 times in the book of Revelation. And if we look at the ancient Torah, we see the word Shema, the first words, which means listen and obey. So listening is not just a passive activity. The Lord shows us that it is an action verb. We must be attentive. The Lord seeks to whisper to us the secret things. When our ear is activated, we can then enter into intimacy with Him. It is from the stillness that we can gain intimacy. In 1 Kings 19, verse 11, we see that the Lord comes to Elijah not in a loud wind, a powerful earthquake, or dramatic fire, but in a gentle whisper. How much more can we gain, especially in our noisy modern world, when we just sit in stillness, when we intentionally turn on our ears and listen to the things that restore us? And what are those things? Those things which I talk about in my book, Love Notes, are classical music, healing, harmonious, and science is proving just how powerful classical music is for each and every one of us. Gregorian chants, incredibly powerful. Mozart, specifically, goodness, how powerful. And these are all things we're going to talk about more on this channel. But if you are looking to expand your healing modalities that you use and let sound be part of your wellness program, I guarantee you're going to see results so quickly. The word says that we should test things for ourselves. It says, be careful not to cross the line into practices that may remove Jesus from the equation. Test everything. And that's in 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. The Lord is revealing deep knowledge and tools for a time such as this. Numbers and sounds and deep knowledge from the Old Testament that we have not been aware of. The same power is there from thousands of years ago. We can use it now. For instance, once I learned that 444 hertz is a healing frequency associated with the key of David, I decided to tune my piano to that key. And just doing that has been life-changing. And look at this interesting connection. If you take the key of David number, which is 444, and divide it in half, you get 222. And just look what it says in the book of Daniel, chapter 2, 22. He reveals deep and hidden things. He knows what lies in darkness, and light dwells with him. What do you think? Have you experienced the effects of healing frequencies? Let's talk in the comments below. And if you're interested in checking out the Heaven's Melody and sampling it for yourself, you can do so on my website, and I link it below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more content on faith, music, and healing.